welcome to this week's review of Rambo, starring Sylvester Stallone.
Showtime.
He is a legend of war. A soldier without a country. You know his name. And you know what he's capable of.
I was told it might be possible to rent your boat. We need to get upriver.
Where?
Into Burma.
Burma's a war zone.
Up the Salween River is our best alternative.
I can't help you out.
Please, that will help change people's lives.
Are you bringing in any weapons?
Of course not.
You're not changing anything.
It's been 20 years since the last Rambo movie, and most of us never thought there'd be a Rocky 6, or especially a Rambo Part 4. But both did happen, and so far, people did seem to like the final Rocky. So now it's time to see if Rambo will be able to work with a 60-year-old lead actor. I'm very happy to say that this movie was exactly what I hoped it would be, and I knew when I heard this dialogue,
Are you bringing in any weapons?
Of course not.
You're not changing anything.
that this film was headed in the right direction. Most of you have probably seen the Red Band trailer by now, and knew from the footage it was going to be pretty violent. Well, if I were to try and sum this movie up in 2 words, it would have to be holy shit. This is probably the most violence I've seen since Saving Private Ryan, and this is no joke stuff here. People see violence in movies all the time, but not like this, not even close. They also have some real footage of some very morbid images as well. This means do not take the little kiddies to see this film. People who think this is just violence for the sake of violence clearly have no clue what's going on in Asia. That area of the globe has had ongoing genocide for the past 50 years or more. So we see some extremely disturbing footage in this movie dealing with the elimination of people. This barely scratches the surface. This has been happening for a long time, and this is a toned down version of what's really going on over there. We just never really hear about this, so this would come off like just another violent movie. But that's not the case. What's happening over there is much worse than what's in this film. This movie starts off very brutal, and the beginning lets you know right away this movie's not afraid to show in the most graphic sense the horrors of a war-torn country. And even though Stallone has hit 60 years old, he's still able to pull this off pretty well. In fact, I liked his performance more in this movie than all but the first film. This was a pretty toned down version of the character, and the dialogue was short and to the point. Probably one of the highlights for me was the flashback scenes.
What do you want to come full circle? I know the reasons you're here.
Aren't you curious to see how things might have changed back home?
Done enough damage. You're always going to be tearing away at yourself until you come to terms with what you are. Until you come full circle.
So you're just gonna stay here forever?
John!
And the original music was pretty awesome to hear again for the new film. The casting for this movie was pretty decent. The missionaries were okay, but some of the dialogue was pretty clunky. The words they were saying were good, but the delivery was just off sometimes. Now the action is pretty damn intense, and even though there are some slow spots in this film, the movie does not have any pacing problems at all. The movie starts fast and ends even faster. I find it pretty funny that Rotten Tomatoes has this movie sitting at a rotten 32%. What the fuck? Sorry my fellow critics, but what the hell were you expecting from this film? The advertising and the trailer for this movie was exactly what they delivered. Now the first hour of First Blood will not be topped. That was brilliant filmmaking. They created a character that became the embodiment of the Special Forces. Trained to do anything, go anywhere, and survive anything, and I just see people crushing this movie and calling it gratuitous violence. It's a movie about war atrocities and violence. So when they have the balls to show the horrible things that are going on over there in a very violent and graphic way, they can't handle it. Sorry, but this movie delivered in almost every way it was supposed to, and I think it did a damn good job of bringing attention to some of what's happening around the world that we don't see because there's no oil over there. Sorry for the rant, but I think a lot of these critics always want some inner turmoil cry fest, and when the character doesn't sell out and become something else, they don't like it. These people clearly bought a ticket for another movie and saw this one on accident. The ending was really good. I did like the direction they took, and I thought they did a good job of ending the movie and the series on the right note. Some of you might not know this, but the original First Blood film, John Rambo is supposed to kill himself in the end, and to Sylvester Stallone's credit, he didn't take this route with the ending. His reason being that it would send the wrong message to the Vietnam veterans that killing themselves was the only way out. And I thought this was very insightful of him. Overall, this movie delivered exactly what it was supposed to and more. Sure, some of the dialogue was clunky at times, but this is Rambo, not Shakespeare. I don't think anyone in their right mind was expecting mind-blowing dialogue in this film. And again, the final note, I'm not kidding when I say violent. This movie is no joke and shouldn't be viewed by anyone with a weak stomach. There is some horrendous footage in this movie. Some real, some studio. But I respect the fact they showed it like this, and let people know how bad things can be when there's no regard for human life. As long as you can deal with the graphic content of this film, then you should be okay. And if you're a true Rambo fan, I don't think you'll be disappointed. For my overall rating, I give Rambo 4.5 stars.
And there isn't one of us that doesn't want to be someplace else. But this is what we do. Live for nothing. Or die for something.